You feel like everyone's eyes are glued on your every move. Like you're walking through a dark room, and somehow every flicker of light catches on you. Like that streetlight outside your window, blinking unevenly, refusing to stay steady. You catch yourself shifting in your seat, replaying the conversation you just had, wondering if that one awkward pause made you look foolish. How much are you really noticed by others when you're sure you're center stage? It's a question that sneaks up on you as you live inside your own head, convinced that everyone else is watching just as closely as you are. Caught under the flicker. Do you ever walk into a room and feel like someone just flipped a switch? Like every eye slides towards you in that quiet flicker of a moment? You catch a glance, or maybe a pause that feels way too long, and suddenly, you're wrapped in a spotlight no one else seems to have noticed. It's like the hum of a streetlight outside your window, blinking unevenly, making shadows dance on the walls. You're there, and somehow it feels like you're on full display. Picture stepping through a doorway where the air shifts. Maybe you're at a party or the office kitchen, and your entrance feels louder than it really is. You hear a cough. Someone stops mid-sentence, and all at once, your heart beats a little faster. You're certain they're all watching. That jacket you forgot to button, the word you stumbled over, the way you said someone's name wrong, they're all there under that silent glare. But here's where it twists. That heavy spotlight, it's not real. It's your mind turning up the volume on your own presence. Like you're mixing your own voice track way too loud on a recording. Everyone else is caught up in their own flickers, their own moments. They don't see you like you think they do. That pause you noticed, probably a moment of their own thought. That glance, maybe they weren't even looking at you. Your brain uses your own feelings, the little anxieties, the things you're tangled up in, as a loudspeaker, making you feel more visible than you really are. Inside your head, the spotlight burns brighter, but outside, it's just dim light shifting. Inside your own head. You sit by the window, the room cloaked in night. The street light outside flickers, casting long, uneven shadows across the floor. You hear again the soft silence, that awkward pause during the conversation earlier. It's vivid in your mind. You remember how your words faltered, how your breath seemed to catch. You picture the faces across from you, imagining every second of silence stretching out, loud and glaring. It feels like everyone noticed. Like the silence screamed in the small room, folding into the space between you all. But here's the thing. Nobody was listening that closely. Not really. Their thoughts were elsewhere. The groove in the chair, the distant hum of cars, a phone buzzing quietly on the table. Your silence didn't echo in their minds the way it does in yours. They didn't catch the weight you felt pressing down. They barely noticed it, if at all. You anchor yourself in that moment, in your own worry, replaying it again and again. That feeling becomes your measuring stick, the lens through which you guess what others saw. You hold tight to your own experience, then stretch it out, thinking it fills the room. This is what makes the silence feel so loud, because you're the only one who knows it fully. The street light outside keeps flickering, a quiet rhythm in the dark. It's steady, but uneven. Like your thoughts, constant, but not always clear to anyone else. You think you're cast in a spotlight, but the light barely reaches beyond your own shadow. You're anchored in your own worry, and that's enough to make the silence sound like thunder. Anchored in your own worry. You sit at the edge of your bed, fingers twitching at the cuff of your shirt. There it is, a dark patch, barely dry, right above your ribs. You catch yourself staring, turning your body just so, hoping no one will see it. But already, in your mind, the stain becomes a flare, a billboard flashing your clumsiness for anyone passing by. You imagine the glance of a coworker, the quick flicker of recognition, the silent judgment. It's the first thing anyone sees, every single time. Yet the hallway outside is quiet. The creak of the floorboards is soft, distant. You haven't heard a single word about it. And when you step out later, people walk past without a second look. The stain, they probably don't notice at all. Still, your worry holds tight, anchors you firmly in your own head. It becomes the lens you use. A cracked lens, fogged over with doubt. You don't step outside that worry to check if it's true. Instead, you measure the world by it. Like the flickering streetlight outside your window, casting uneven shadows that stretch and shrink, your perception shifts but never clears. You're stuck inside your own worry, convinced that the spotlight is trained on you, when in fact, it's dimmer than you think. This is the false consensus of your mind, the heavy assumption that others see what you see, feel what you feel, notice what you notice. But they don't, not really, and that changes everything. The false consensus of your mind. You're sitting there, words caught just behind your teeth. The room is quiet, but inside your head, it's louder than a subway at rush hour. You want to say something, to push past the hum of small talk or the awkward pause. But you hesitate. You picture every pair of eyes turned your way, all judging, all waiting for the moment you slip up, sound foolish, or just don't quite fit. You think the unease you feel is shared by everyone else, that they're just as tangled in nerves as you are. So you stay silent. But here's the thing. That crowd you imagine, it's mostly your own mind's doing. Your anxiety sets the stage and plucks the audience from thin air. You assume the room is buzzing with the same tension you're feeling, when really, most people haven't even noticed the pause. They're not caught in your spotlight. Think about the flickering streetlight outside your window. How it blinks on and off. Sometimes bright, sometimes barely there. Your mind is like that light, casting a harsh glow where there's barely any heat. It builds a presence that's louder than the room's true sound. Anchored in your own worry, you weigh what's inside you too heavily and forget that others don't have the same map. You overestimate how much your feelings signal to the world, assuming a shared broadcast where there's only static. And so, the crowd's divided gaze shifts. It's not all on you. It never was. The crowd's divided gaze. Now, picture yourself at a party. The room hums with chatter and the clink of glasses, voices weaving in and out like a restless tide. You catch a glance or two, those quick flickers of attention that make your skin prick. But look closer. The woman by the window is busy scrolling on her phone, caught up in a message she's typing. The guy, near the snacks, laughs at something only he and his friend understand. Over there, someone's telling a story, hands moving like they're sketching in the air. And everyone leans in, not at you, but at this small, shared moment. You feel that weight on your chest, like a spotlight's trained on you. But the truth is different. It's more like a dozen candles burning on a long table, each one flickering on its own. The focus? Scattered, rarely fixed. The flickering streetlight outside your window might be a better rival for your attention. Its glow wavers, sometimes bright, sometimes faint, as if unsure whether to hold on or fade away. That's how attention works here. A shifting glow, a divided gaze. So that feeling you get, of everyone seeing every misstep, every awkward pause, it's mostly a flicker inside your own mind. You anchor on that, letting it grow bigger than it needs to be. The crowd isn't watching you closely. They're tangled in their own thoughts, their own stories, their own quiet dramas. And once you realize this, the pressure eases. Your world shrinks down, and the noise fades, leaving a quieter truth behind the glow. You're not the center of their stage. You're just one small light among many, each flickering as it will. The quiet truth behind the glow. Have you ever replayed a moment, maybe spilling coffee or fumbling words, and felt like every eye was fixed on you? You curl up in bed, the quiet hum of a flickering streetlight outside your window, barely steady, as your thoughts loop over the awkwardness. You imagine the sharp glances, the whispered judgments, the silent notes taken by strangers about your stumble. But what if those eyes aren't really watching? Imagine their gaze shifted inches after your misstep, already pulled away by their own little dramas and worries. Most people are tangled in their own webs. They're not scanning the room for your faults. Think about the last time you noticed someone else's slip. It probably lasted a moment, if that. You carry the weight of that imagined spotlight like a heavy coat on a warm night. It's thick and clinging, but maybe it's lighter than it feels. The truth is, while your mind zooms in, others zoom out. They don't have the same close-up view, the same internal commentary running alongside your every move. They're not anchored to your awkwardness the way you are. This flickering attention is real, but it's brief and uneven, more shadow than stage light. It's strange, isn't it? How your internal world magnifies you to the center, while the outside world barely registers the moment's glow. The crowd's gaze divides, but very little of it lingers on you. And so the burden you carry, the embarrassment, the shame, is often a trick of your own focus. This quiet truth, once seen clearly, can change how you move through the spaces where you think you're exposed. You feel like everyone's eyes are glued on your every move. Like the world's watching and waiting for you to slip. But how much are you really noticed by others when you're sure you're center stage? The truth is, you're less watched than you think. The spotlight you imagine is mostly yours, flickering quietly in your own mind. Those moments you dread, replay again and again. They're smaller than you believe. Others aren't holding their breath. That weight you carry, you can set it down. Let the quiet reminders settle. The gaze you feel is far softer, far thinner than the one you sense. Maybe tonight you can just breathe into that. If you want, try it next time you feel that spotlight shift.